May 26, 1831. Granada, Spain. A woman walks to her death for shouting freedom. Her name, Mariana Pineda. Born into nobility, but never bowed to tyranny. She embroidered a flag with bold words: liberty, equality, and law. The monarchy saw it as treason. They arrested her. Despite torture and bribes, she refused to betray her allies. At just 27 years old, she was executed by garrote in a public square. But Mariana's death sparked a flame. Today, she stands as a symbol of women who dare to fight for freedom.
May 27, 1937. California, USA, San Francisco. A massive red bridge opened to the public for the first time. Its name, the Golden Gate Bridge. At the time, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world. And for the first time, it connected San Francisco and Marin County by land. On its opening day, over 100,000 pedestrians walked, ran, and biked across it in celebration. But this bridge was more than just a road. It became a symbol of hope in Depression-era America, a triumph of engineering, design, and perseverance. Today, it still stands as a proud icon of San Francisco.
On May 28, 1998, Pakistan becomes a nuclear power. The world is shocked. Just 2 weeks earlier, India conducted nuclear tests in Pokhran. In response, Pakistan launched Operation Shagai and conducted 5 nuclear tests deep in the Balochistan desert. The underground explosions caused no atmospheric fallout, but shook the global order. The US and Japan immediately imposed economic sanctions, and the world expressed concern over nuclear escalation in South Asia. Pakistan, however, commemorated it as Yom Takbir, the Day of God's Greatness. With this, both India and Pakistan, 2 rival nations, now had nuclear weapons. The sound of Shagai's explosion was no mere test. It was the birth of a new nuclear shadow.
May 29, 1453. The thousand-year empire of Byzantium fell. Young Sultan Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire surrounded Constantinople with massive cannons. And after relentless bombardment, the mighty walls finally broke. Byzantine Emperor Constantine XI fought to the death with sword in hand. The last light of the Roman legacy, that had endured for centuries, was extinguished that very day. But this wasn't just a conquest, it marked the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of the modern world. And from now on, Constantinople would be known as Istanbul.
On May 30, 1431, Joan of Arc was burned at the stake in Rouen, France. She believed in divine visions and fought for France. She liberated Orleans and led Charles VII to his coronation. But the king never tried to save her. Why? Joan had become too famous, too hard to control, even for the king. Charles feared she might return and threaten his authority. And France was too weak to confront England and Burgundy. So the king stayed silent. No plea, no protest. In the end, she was condemned as a heretic at just 19. In her final moment, she said, "I entrust my soul to God," and vanished in the flames. Her death ignited the hearts of the French and changed the course of the 100 Years' War. But the king she made never stood by her side.
On May 31, 1223, a battle that changed Europe's destiny erupted. Mongol General Subutai led a cavalry force that ambushed the armies of Kiev and Rus and the Cumans. This was no ordinary clash. Subutai had spent months scouting Europe, studying terrain, strategies, and his enemies. The Cumans called for help, and 80,000 troops under the Grand Prince of Kiev joined them. But the Mongols used feigned retreats to lure them into a deadly trap. The outcome was brutal. About 70 Kievan nobles were captured and crushed alive before Subutai's eyes. The Rus army was completely destroyed. This victory confirmed Mongolia's path toward European conquest. The Battle of the Kalka River marked the beginning of terror in Eastern Europe.
In 1495, a Scottish monk named John Cor was recorded making whisky. By order of King James IV, he received 8 bowls of malt, about 600 kilograms, to produce aqua vitae, Latin for water of life. At the time, it was a medicinal distilled spirit. This record appears in Scotland's official tax document, the Exchequer Rolls. It's the first known written record of Scotch whisky. This single line marked the symbolic start of Scotland becoming a world whisky powerhouse. The place tied to this record, Linders Abbey, still operates today as a whisky distillery. The water of life, that began as medicine, has evolved over centuries into a drink of culture.